This story is true, or at least this is how the unreliable memory of a small town decided to record it. Names were changed to protect the innocent, and places were moved to confuse anyone who thinks they remember everything. When you live in a place where the landscape is actively hostile, your brain develops a specific psychological defense. Survival requires a way to process the constant threat of the environment. In 1602, a man named Bjorn was executed at the National Assembly. The executioner was old and incompetent. After 6 hacking strikes to the neck, Bjorn looked up from the block and told the man to hack better. It took 30 hits to finish the job. This is Svartir humor, the cultural algorithm where horrific tragedy is processed through deadpan normalization. It is a way of speaking that allows for the venting of emotion without the vulnerability of showing it. When the world is trying to kill you, treating death as a minor administrative error is a vital survival strategy. If the void is going to stare at you, you might as well critique its form. We see this play out in Steinvik, a quiet, isolated settlement built on the edge of the water. This town runs on 3 cinematic rules. Sentences are short, humor is dry, and emotional displays are prohibited. The men here have a limited set of options. They go to sea, they go into computers, or they get into trouble they weren't supposed to find. Sometimes they manage all 3. We are about to watch those rules execute on a family whose biological source code has been running a fatal seafaring loop for generations. In a freezing mess hall, 3 men sit in heavy silence, eating boiled fish. The only sound is the scrape of forks against ceramic. They talk about 1973. The Sjostjarnan went out, and the sea said no. The grandfather went down with the ship, along with 10 others. That single event left 21 children fatherless across the coast. The men at the table deliver this data with the same enthusiasm they used to pass the salt. Then they moved to 1984, when the Helisee was lost. Maggie was supposed to be on that boat, but his wife stopped him. Hjortur took his place and never came back. Oli sits in the corner, watching them. He is the quiet observer of this generational exchange. He realizes the family isn't cursed. They are just running the same flawed code over and over, ignoring the crash logs and expecting a different result from the same ocean. Oli pushes his plate away and turns to a bulky machine in the corner. The screen glows in the dim room, a different kind of light than the sun on the water. He selects a different system. The sea takes lives. Computers only take your sleep. This diagram shows his lineage as a software version history using Git. Git is a tool used by developers to track changes and manage different versions of code. Here, the 1973 and 1984 branches simply end in fatal system errors. We can see his current runtime status at version 49.4. He is applying patches to modern bugs, like the flu and ADHD. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects focus and impulse control. In this new version of the family history, these are handled as manageable errors rather than catastrophes. Breaking the generational cycle means abandoning the old hardware. You write a new operating system for your life to ensure the legacy errors don't carry over into the next deployment. Back in the wide frame of the mess hall, the men finally stop eating. They look at Oli, who is still typing at the glowing monitor. They don't understand what work is being done. To them, if there isn't a fish or a net involved, it isn't quite real. His father watches the screen for a moment and then tells the others that the boy is fixing the boat. One of the men points out that the family doesn't actually own a boat anymore. The father just says, "Exactly. Survival in this town means realizing the only vessel you can ever truly save is the one you build out of code."